Welcome to Saving the Investor with certified financial planner, investment advisor, and insurance professional Alfie Townsend, president of Advantage Retirement Group.
Good morning, Southwest Florida. You are listening to Saving the Investor radio show. I'm Alfie Townsend with Pastor John Antonucci, and we are here to talk about the markets. We're going to talk about Charlie, and I hope you enjoy this show.
Good morning, Southwest Florida. You want to grab a pen and paper or just lean in and listen, because today's show is packed with a lot of great information for investors that are currently retired or soon to be retired. And before we dive in, we got something extra special for you. For all of our listeners, Alfie has put together a high net worth toolkit. It's designed exclusively for affluent retirees and pre-retirees. And you want to pick up this toolkit today because inside of it, it has information on tax reduction, reducing your taxes, estate planning, large IRA strategies, charitable giving, and so much more. But listen, there's only 7 packets available in the office today. You want to be one of the first 7 people to pick up your retirement toolkit, the high net worth toolkit. All you have to do is text the word KIT, K-I-T, to 239-747-1077. Again, get a hold of your high net worth toolkit. It's a complimentary gift from Alfie to you, and it's going to help you in many different areas of your retirement goals and dreams. Text the word KIT, K-I-T, to 239-747-1077. And Alfie, as you said in the open before we dive into the market update, you know, it's important to really take a moment because our country has lost an incredible, powerful voice taken from us far too soon. Charlie Kirk, 31 years old. I grieve in my spirit for his wife and his children, and will never hug him again. You know, he was a kind, smart, patriotic, and passionate Christ follower. His faith was strong, and really he wanted to engage young people on campuses, which he did. And really, he is really influential in President Trump being elected because, you know, he never went to college, and he debated that. But God gave him a platform to be able to reach young people and really get people towards a conservative worldview, I would say biblical worldview, but a conservative worldview that really is a following now that is amazing. He had 300 employees. I think it's an $80 billion a year organization at Turning Point, and his legacy is a great one. It will continue on.
You think it will?
Yeah.
I think it will too. Like you said, he was on Fox a couple days ago. They showed him on his first time at Fox, and it was 2012. He was in high school with 2 other students. He did all the talking. He was in the middle, and you're talking. You know, you're listening to an 18-year-old that sounded like he was a 40-year-old. He definitely knew. You know, he wanted to make a difference, and he did make a difference. He's a true patriot without a doubt. He's And he, like you said, he is going to, and like Mark Levin said, he said, you know, they might have shot him and killed him, but it's his voice will live on, and it's going to be so much bigger. And President Trump said the same thing. It's going to be bigger than ever. You know, with what, like you said, he had faith, family, freedom. That's what he was. And if you didn't agree with him, it was an open mic too. That's why he was so popular at these college events. He said, you know, come and debate me. And he was kind to him. He wasn't mean. Yeah. He wasn't mean-spirited. And I heard this over and over and over with all these interviews I've been watching this past week. And they said that, you know, he would give you, more than one person said, give you the shirt off his back. That's what he said. They said
conservative or liberal. He didn't.
Yeah, he didn't care. He would give you the shirt off his back. Mark Levin said he would give you, if you said, you know, can I have your dessert over there? He would give it to you. He was a very giving person. So it's a shame, you know, the young die so fast, it seems like. But he will live on, and he's going to have a voice for decades, not just years, decades and decades. He was that powerful of a person. So I think more and more people are going to search him and search about him, and they're going to see that he was special.
Yeah. He definitely, you know, we have to dial down the rhetoric on both sides because, you know, we have to be able to disagree and realize that we're Americans, you know, and I mean, for people to take people's lives because they're influencing a sect of the population that really is at a teetering point, the young people, you know, he's really had an influence to be able to bring them over And that's why you see many Republicans coming into the fold, because it's these young people that never really got involved, engaged in politics. And politics is such a big part of our lives. And even this show, political decisions have an effect on people's finances, right? So, I mean, it's...
Oh, it does. It does. And, for him to go into the belly of the beast, and that's what it was, he would go to these liberal colleges, and they didn't want him there. Yeah. And you see these reports. He would say, hey, I'm just we're just talking, but there's violent people out there, and so he knew he had security around him and everything. But it's you can't have secure every corner of where you are, and when you're 200 yards away, it's just a very sad. It was a sad day Wednesday, and then the next day, 9/11. So our country has gone through a lot, and it went through a lot again this week. So, just keep the faith. That's all we can do, John. Pastor John, we're gonna talk about that. Just keep the faith and know that there's more good people than bad people.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what we have to put our faith in.
Well, that's well said, Alfie. As we start, honoring the legacy of Charlie Kirk, and obviously reminded of 9/11 that happened this week. We have an economy and a market that really is moving forward, and these kind of things definitely hit you in the gut. But we have to keep moving forward as a nation. And employment and inflation is something that people are always concerned about. What are your views on what's happening in that sector of the market? So
the employment inflation numbers, they rose 27,000. That puts for the week ending September 6th, 263,000 for the week. Now that's a higher number. The number that they really are comfortable with is 200 to 250. So it went beyond that 250 number. This is the highest level since October 24. So overall, Wall Street likes, we like less these jobless claims. So they are starting to tick up. We also have, the healthy labor market typically sees claims in that 200 and 250, like I said, and it's at 263. So that's something that we have to keep a look on. That is going to increase the pressure of the Feds that's meeting September 16th through 17th and 17th, what they're going to do. Now it looks like it's going to be more than 0.25%. If it's just 0.25% this time, then there are probably going to be more rate cuts throughout the year. Probably have 2 to 3. They're talking about 3, so we could be seeing 0.75% rate cut by the end of the year.
That would be fantastic, wouldn't it?
That would be good, because just the debt alone, John, is 0.5% would save $160 to $170 billion a year just in interest payments on just the debt. So 1% would save over $330 billion. That would be $330 billion of found money, because we're not having to pay this high interest rate. And it would also help with so many other things like your mortgage payments, make it where people can afford a mortgage again, and the housing market would get going. You would have, the car sales would get going again, because you would have decent rates on cars. So there's a lot of things that would really help. So we're going to get back to more of these numbers, consumer prices and stuff like that. But we want to let you know how you can get hold of us.
Yeah, you want to position yourself right now before those rate cuts, because once those rates go down, CDs go down, money markets go down, and more money is going to come into the market. You want to be able to position yourself well. Alfie's put together a retirement simulator process, which is a deep dive into your current portfolio to see what's really going on. He's going to make sure that you're allocated properly, diversified correctly, not taking undue risk for the amount of return that you're getting each and every year. You want to sit down with him in Fort Myers or Naples, because you want to have a review. If you haven't had a review in 6 months to a year, or maybe you've been with another advisor for many years, get a second opinion, a second pair of eyes. Let Alfie put you through our retirement simulator process. He can only handle 9 per week, so be one of the first 9 people to text the word VISIT, V-I-S-I-T, to 239-747-1077. You owe it to yourself to visit with Alfie in Fort Myers or Naples. Text the word VISIT to 239-747-1077. or go to savingtheinvestor.com. You'll find a wealth of information about Alfie, his company, and all the services that he offers here through the Advantage Retirement Group. Go to savingtheinvestor.com. We're going to be right back right after this break, so don't go away. Welcome back to Saving the Investor with certified financial planner professional Alfie Townsend. You know, Alfie has over 40 years, that's 40 years of experience as a fiduciary, which means his responsibility is to you, not to any products or services that he does offer here through the Advantage Retirement Group. And if you're ready to take a deeper dive into retirement strategies we talk about every week, well, Alfie's got something extra special for you today. He's making 7 complimentary copies of his book, Making Waves in Retirement, available for our listeners. Listen, it's your roadmap to a fulfilling retirement, packed with valuable insights and many real-life stories from investors that Alfie has helped save over his 40-year career. That's why he named this broadcast Saving the Investor, to save you from the pitfalls, the schemes, the traps of Wall Street. But guess what? There's only 7 copies available today, so you need to pick yours up right now. If you haven't picked it up before and you've been listening to us, what are you waiting for? Text the word book, B-O-O-K, to 239-747-1077. Grab your copy today. It's complimentary. Text the word book to 239-747-1077. Grab your copy before they're all gone. And Alfie, we're talking about the week in review, and we're talking about employment numbers, inflation numbers.
Yeah.
But consumer prices are very important to those that are actually making purchases of goods and services in the marketplace. And how is that faring not only here in Southwest Florida, but nationally?
Well, nationally, we're looking at it rose 2.9% year over year, and that's up a little bit from July at 2.7%. But the core inflation, excluding food and energy, is still running hot. You were just, we were talking about food, steaks and everything, but that wouldn't be under core. That'd be the CPI, and it's high. What you were saying?
Ribeye steaks.
Ribeye steaks.
$17.99. I mean,
yeah, that's more than what the fillet. It wasn't too long ago. Fillets were at what, like $13.99, and that was for the good one. So it's definitely, things are definitely popping a little bit now. The one good thing is that you have so the Feds are going to have to work. Wholesale inflation came down a little bit. So wholesale inflation came down. That could help the next month. So we'll check that out. But still, the Fed their target is 2% now. So we're at 3 and 2. So we're still higher than what the Feds want. So they have to think about the economy. They have to manage the economy that's slowing up, and then they have to manage inflation. So this is going to be a touchy thing, and you also have other things you have to be concerned with too. Like I said, the producer price index is going to be that fell a little bit for August. So lower wholesale prices today could really mean lower consumer prices tomorrow. So that's a good thing. That's some good news if we're going to look at it. But again, the Feds are going to have to look at both those situations of rising inflation a little bit and then slowing up the economy. But what I want to really talk about is Scott Bessent, and he's our Treasury, and he's really Trump's right hand guy. He's his for economy, for the economic side, and he says all this talk about inflation, talk about job numbers and this and that. He said the trillions and trillions of dollars that was committed from countries and companies here in the United States, that's not even taken effect yet. Really, that one big beautiful tax bill wasn't really until July. So it just really happened. So you're going to start to see he says you're going to start to see that money, and what's the benefit of that in the fourth quarter this year. The fourth quarter, he says you're going to see factory starts are going to be up. You're going to have construction up, factory workers, and so he says you're going to see a lot in the fourth quarter, and then it's going to snowball and get better and better. So I feel like you said, John, if you haven't had your portfolio reviewed and this is you're in the spot that I think we have our lower taxes, We have money coming in. It's going to be an opportunity, the golden years. He talked about the golden years. I really feel that there's opportunity. The markets are doing good. The market's all-time high. So it is something that there's no limit on what the market can do. I mean, Warren Buffett said the Dow could, be at 100,000. Well, when he said 50,000, the Dow would. People thought he was nuts, and the Dow at that time was at like maybe 15,000, 18,000. So it'd be at 50,000, and it's pushing that, not unrealistic right now. Yeah. It's not unrealistic. So the thing about it is this: you have to be in it to participate in it. And we have some portfolios that give you less volatility than what the S&P is, and it's been crushing the S&P and NASDAQ over the last 3 years for sure. And this year, definitely for sure, it's even beating the NASDAQ, and with less volatility. And you need to really set a time to come in and let us show you what we do here at the Advanced Retirement Group. And the reason why we're able to beat people's accounts so much is that we have products and services that other people are not using and do not know about and are afraid of, change. And they stick with the old 50-50 portfolio or growth portfolio. But if we can show you how we're generating 8%, as high as 15% income for our clients, that gives you an income that is satisfying your needs, but it gives you more money in your account to invest. If you're making more interest, you don't need as much money to invest to get that interest. Say it again. If you're needing a certain dollar amount of income, if we can do it with this excess interest that we're able to get for our clients, you don't need to put as much money in there. So what that does for our clients, it allows more money out to invest, to fight inflation, and to grow and to use for future needs. So it is a great thing, and that's why I feel like we don't have competition. People say, there's a lot of competition in Southwest Florida. Yeah, there might be competition for other people, but we don't have the competition because we stay ahead and we have things that other people aren't utilizing to get the income, to grow their money, and the managers that we use. So, John, give again our number and about the retirement simulator, and you need to get your portfolios checked and let us show you a comparison of what we do versus what you have. And I think your eyes will be wide open and take advantage of something like this.
Yeah, Alfie said some big things there. If you can reduce your risk and reduce your volatility, it's going to put more money in your retirement pocket for the long run, whether you're soon to be retired or currently retired. You owe it to yourself to sit down with them. Let it be a second pair of eyes. It's not just any eyes. You're talking about Southwest Florida's premier financial planner professional with over 40 years experience as a CFP. And he's also a fiduciary, which means he's going to put you in the best opportunities that are best for you. He's not pushing any products or services that are going to benefit him. Everything is going to benefit you. And you want to sit down with him in Fort Myers or Naples. You need to be one of the first 9 right now to text. Pick up your smart device. Don't hesitate. That's what they can handle per week. 9 people to text the word VISIT, VISIT, to 239-747-1077. Alfie's going to show you and take you back 5 years. You're going to go back 5 years of your portfolio, and he's going to take his portfolio that he invests people in 5 years, and you're going to see side by side how you would have performed and possibly what you missed out on in 5 years of investing. Why don't you take advantage of his wealth of information and wealth of knowledge that he has here as a certified financial planner professional? Be one of the first 9 people to text the word VISIT, VISIT, to 239-747-1077. You also can go to savingtheinvestor.com. Again, that's savingtheinvestor.com. You'll find a wealth of information about Alfie, his company, and all the services he offers. And Alfie, you said something really important. If you can reduce someone's volatility, a lot of people out there that come in, they don't know what the volatility range is of their portfolio. You can show them with certain confidence level what they could stay within. And if you can reduce their risk and volatility, that's going to mean more money, isn't it?
You don't know what you don't know until you come in and say, okay, let me find out what I don't know. So I feel more comfortable when the market starts to have some volatility. You know that your risk is less than what it was, and you're not losing as much too. So if you can make more when markets are doing good and not lose as much when markets are doing bad, That's called risk reward. Okay, so that's again, we're always going to have volatility, and people don't like volatility, but they do seem to like upward volatility. We do like volatility. We just don't want the down volatility. But man, when markets are rocking and rolling, we do want upward volatility, and that's so if you can have have accounts that are designed to do good when the markets are doing good and not to do so bad when the markets go the other way. And then the reason why we can do this is because your income is coming from something that is not in your portfolio specifically that's being invested where you're taking money out of. So if you can have an income plan that can generate 8 to 15% income and have a relatively, and that money is relatively risk-wise, it's protected real good, and we'll explain that when you come in. But then your other monies has time to grow for you and fight, and this is what it's all about, is really have the allocation and the income plan in place so you can have that retirement that you're looking for. We'll be right back. Good morning, Southwest Florida. Again, this is Saving the Investor. I'm Alfie Townsend, Southwest Florida Certified Financial Planner Professional, here with Pastor John Antonucci. And it was definitely a hard week with Charlie Kirk being assassinated, out of the blue. Life is short. You could, you're here one day and you're gone the next. So, life is precious, and we all have to really think about how important life is, John, and talk about why you have to have faith. He had faith, and talk a little bit about that, because he had faith, and he knows we know where he is right now. His faith was he wore it on his shoulder.
Well, his faith was in Jesus Christ, and not without getting too preachy. I mean, you want to know where you're going, and we believe as Christians that Christ came to sacrifice his life so that we can pass from death to life and into eternal life. And that's where we believe he is. He wasn't afraid of dying because he knew, he wasn't expecting to die, obviously, as a young 31-year-old man with a wife and 2 little babies. But he is in the presence of God, and eternity is a lot longer than 31 years or 110 years. I mean, when you compare it to eternity is a very long time. And we need to have faith in something, and we can't save ourselves, so we need a Savior.
Amen on that. And, we're talking about the markets this week. Our phone number is 239-747-1077. That's 239-747-1077. And, John, the market is, at an all-time high. It's just hitting record after record. Now, does that mean you don't want to put any money in the market? We have people come in, new people come in from our radio and TV show and referrals, and they come in and they ask about, is the market too high to put money in? So what I do is I explain to them, we already had a downturn in the market earlier this year. Yes, it usually has a nice run up. There's more room to run up, and there's, again, that money that we were talking about that is committed here in the United States. Trillions and trillions of dollars, in the teens. We're talking a lot of just Apple itself is committed $600 billion. Just one company, $600 billion. So there's a lot of money that is coming here that is really pledged to really build factories, because that's why, if you look at the tariffs, that is a gambling. That is not a gambling. That's a marketing to people to say, listen, you can either pay this tariff, but you do have an option. You can build factories here and not have to pay these tariffs.
They wouldn't be investing here if there wasn't tariffs.
That's right.
Apple would stay in China.
That's right. So this brings jobs here. It does. It brings jobs here. Now, do we pay a little extra for it? Yeah, but the companies are now saving money. The money that they're saving by not having to pay the tariffs, they're able to move here in the United States and do business without being hit with these tariffs. So it is and tariffs have been out for, that used to be the way the government paid their taxes. raise tax money.
1917, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah. So it's been around for many years, and I know the courts are they're wanting the courts to get rid of him or say he doesn't have authority. But there's plenty of precedent that he has authority to do what he's doing. So I think it would be horrendous if they try to take that away from him. We'll see that, but I think it's coming in November or something. Yeah, I think it needs to come sooner than that. But they probably want to do it right before the holiday so they can do it, get it done, and then take their break and get out. And it cools off a little bit, then they come back. But there's a lot going on. But there's a lot of opportunities out there. Again, the S&P hits another record. The Dow. You also have now the Dow was underperforming by. You had Amazon, Salesforce, and Apple. Now, Apple was raised pretty good this week, and then it did have a downturn. But Apple is their phone that they're coming out with. We've been talking about flip phone for a long time, and Devin showed me they are coming out with a flip phone next year.
Very light one that's coming out right now.
Yep. And and I watched the video. My son Devin sent me a video of the different phones that they have, and the two. I guess the pros have a better camera, and the different colors and stuff like that, the orange and stuff. But I don't think you need cases on them anymore because they were showing how they're protected on the back and the front. So
very hard to break. I'm sure.
Very hard to break. So that would be nice to have a phone without a case.
And water resistant.
Water resistant. I drop mine. Yeah, I drop it. Yep. And dropped in the golf course not too long ago, and my Bluetooth was still playing, and it was underwater by 2 foot, and picked it right up. Started. Remember, you had to put it in rice before.
I watched. That's how I heard about it.
Yeah, put it in rice, but anyway, their phone is I think they're coming with a flip iPad too. And that's going to be nice. So I think that's one of our largest holdings for our clients' portfolios is Apple. So, we have.
Interesting. Samsung has all that. I'm surprised they're behind Samsung.
Yeah.
They've had his out for a while. It's pretty wild, that flip phone.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't wait till we have it. But so anyway, we are looking as an investor. You're saying, do you think rate cuts are going to happen? And rate cuts, will be happening because the economy is slowing down. Now, what happens usually with rate cuts? That means businesses can invest with less money. They're not going to pay as much interest. So that's really going to that's going to create growth of the of the markets. If you look at history, it just absolutely grows, and so it does. Without it, corporate earnings will be hurt. So when you have lower interest rates, cost of doing business is less. So, that means businesses are making more money. That's why you're seeing strength in growth and tech. So tech definitely needs to borrow more money than a value company. Like a value company, they pay dividends and they have money sitting aside. They don't need to borrow money. Right. But a tech company is always growing. They're looking to grow, and that's why you have these companies that are that invest. And that's what if you're either a value investor or you could be both. But we're more of a growth type of investor. That's what you want to grow that money and be.
In retirement, you can grow your money, can't you?
Absolutely. If you have great question in retirement. Why do you want to grow? Well, like you said, your steaks are $19 a pound right now, and that's not even the filet mignon. Right. So you need to grow your money to pay for the increases of everything, and I don't think it's going to be going down anytime soon.
No. Real estate taxes, insurance, still going to go up.
Yeah, you have a lot of things that are. Driving things up. Hopefully, when your economy starts to get stronger, though, you're going to see things even go up more.
Probably housing will bounce back up.
Yeah, because housing is down right now, but wait till housing starts to go back up. So you need to make money on your money. So that's why I'm saying if you have an income plan that we can generate that 8 to 15%, you don't need to put as much in the kitty to get the income that you need. So if we can put that money in something and we can show you what we put it in and the protection that it has, you're talking about creating income, the income that you need, but more money out for investment. And you need more money out for investing to fight inflation like what we're talking about. Things are still high. They're not as high as what they were, but things are still high, and the housing is going to start going up when the economy starts to go good. So you need to invest for the future.
Well, Alfie's put together something that you want to get into your hands, and that is a high net worth toolkit. It's designed exclusively for affluent retirees and pre-retirees, and it's an advanced guide on tax reduction. If you can reduce your taxes, that's more money in your pocket each and every year. It talks about estate planning, large IRA strategies, charitable giving, and so much more. You can get your complimentary toolkit right now. He has 10 available for you to pick up. Be one of the first 10 to text the word KIT, K-I-T, to 239-747-1077. Again, you want to pick up Alfie's High Net Worth Toolkit. It's going to help you navigate through the fog of investing. A lot of these strategies that we talk about on the air are going to be in print form that you're going to be able to look right at and prepare you for tax reduction, estate planning, IRA strategies, charitable giving, and so much more. Be one of the first 10 callers right now. Pick up your High Net Worth Toolkit by texting the word KIT, K-I-T, to 239-747-1077, or you can go to savingtheinvestor.com. Again, that's savingtheinvestor.com. And Alfie, when you don't really talk about individual stocks, but there are popular stocks and themes this week, like Oracle surge. I know had a little blip down, Apple had a blip down and then back up. I mean, we look at certain sectors to help us understand what's happening in a lot of these S&P 500 and the Dow and the NASDAQ. There are big companies that are carrying the majority of the load in there, isn't there?
You said something about Oracle, and Oracle, the reason why it surged at 40%, I guess Tuesday or whatever, it was because they just got billion-dollar contracts, more than one, with AI. And that's what they're saying. AI is not, AI might not be what they say it is, this and that. Well, AI is, it made Ellison, who owns, who's the founder, I think he's the founder of Oracle, but Ellison took over the number one, the richest guy in the world.
And you haven't heard that name in a while, Oracle, for years.
Yeah, and Ellison passed Elon Musk now. Can you believe that? Yeah. I mean, who would think anybody would? His stocks went up 40%. Who would think he would ever get? So that probably ticked off Elon Musk. So he's going to probably come up with something that's going to get him back to number one. I'm sure it was probably only $1 trillion, or not a trillion, but like a couple billion that he passed it by. But anyway, so Elon Musk has competition. We'll talk more about that on the other side of this break. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to Saving the Investor with certified financial planner professional Alfie Townsend. Alfie has 40 years experience as a CFP and also as a fiduciary, which means his responsibility is to you, the individual investor, not any to products and services that he offers here at the Advantage Retirement Group. And listen, he's got something special for you today. He's making 7 complimentary copies of his book, Making Waves in Retirement, available to our listeners. We only have 7 left. Listen, it's your roadmap to a fulfilling retirement packed with valuable insights and real-life stories from investors Alfie has helped over his 40-year career. That's why he named this broadcast Saving the Investor, to save you from the pitfalls, the schemes, the traps of Wall Street. But the sad news is we only have 7 copies available right now, so you need to act now. If you've been listening to us for a while and you haven't picked up your copy, why haven't you picked up a complimentary copy of Alfie's book? All you have to do is text the word book, B-O-O-K, to 239-747-1077 to claim yours. Pick up Alfie's book today by texting the word book, B-O-O-K, to 239-747-1077. Grab your copy before they're all gone. And as we look to the future, sort of through a crystal ball, which you had, key data to look for. You talked about it a little bit, but maybe to rehash that to let what you're looking for, the people that are listening know, is Fed September meeting, CPI report, and updated job numbers. What do all those mean, and what could that do to the market if they all come back positive?
Well, this really is going to tell us whether the Feds are going to, what they're going to do with these rates. How much are they going to? We know they're going to cut because that's already priced into the stocks. We know they're going to cut, but it's going to really, how much is it going to? How is it going to be? 0.25%? Is it going to be a half? Is it going to be a whole percent by the end of the year? So these are things that are very important, and that really drives the economy. It drives the economy. It drives the market. So these are going to be important indicators. So September is an important month, and September notoriously, John, it's not been. Last year I think was good, but if you look at the months, September is notoriously the worst. And they're coming back from vacation. They're not, they're taking some gains. They're not paying attention so much. Then it starts to pick up again. But if you look at, this month, it's so far so good. We're a third of the way through it, and it's holding up pretty good. We're still at record highs, so we're not giving a lot of the returns back. So that's a good thing. So maybe this one will follow what last year followed. But when you have lower opportunities for lower interest rate, that is good news for the market.
And two, we don't talk about hurricanes, but if we can get through the next month and a half,
I didn't want to bring that word up.
Without billions of dollars in loss, I mean, that affects the markets as well, doesn't it? When you have billions of dollars in destruction come ripping through, whether it's Florida or some part of the East Coast or New Orleans, that type of thing. If we can avoid that, that's going to stabilize the markets.
If you go back, to Andrew back in the 90s, that's when South Florida. I'm talking about Miami. It was Homestead. That's when the building boom really started. If you can go look at it. So and that's what happened. So. Look at Fort Myers Beach. Yeah. I mean, it's going pretty slow. I know you were, trying to start a church over there, and you were doing good over there, but it was so hard in the winter to.
It's all going to be high rises.
It's going to be,
anyway.
Yeah,
it's a big building. That's big money coming into.
Big money coming in, and look what they're selling that land for over there, record prices. So. But it is going to put all the mom and pops. This is going to be a whole new look. Fort Myers Beach is going to be a whole new look. But it's going to be. They're going to make these buildings where if a hurricane comes, it's not going to affect it. Yeah. Like look at Margaritaville. It was in the process of it was building. It was, but they had the concrete up and everything, and it didn't really get hurt. Their pool got hurt. That's so. They're going to make these buildings to withstand hurricanes, and right now, that's I built a new home, and I went up, and if a hurricane comes, pray to God it doesn't, but I'm not going to be as worried as I was with my last house because it was under the footage.
Now you can go up to the second level and be safe as.
Yeah, and it probably won't make the first level because we built up. So. We had the codes. That's what I'm saying. So hurricanes aren't going to be as bad with the new codes. They're not going to have the destruction that they have now. Our friends in Sanibel, they rebuilt, and their son rebuilt, and he rebuilt, and their partners rebuilt, and they're all up, and they're not going to be affected. But you're right. It does create. It creates business. It creates. Think of all the roofers. Oh, yeah. Think of all the jobs that come in here when that happens. So the economy definitely picks up, and that's when prices start to go up again. But, it comes from somewhere. Who pays that? Well, consumer pays it, and then the insurance company pays it. So typically the insurance companies take a hit. Right. The insurance companies take a hit. But anyway, we have to, again, the risk is that inflation sticks around longer than we're anticipating, but that affects food, energy, and services. So we have to just take all that in consideration along the way. I think we're in a good situation with again, we got the fourth quarter. When we have the fourth quarter coming, you're going to see a lot of. I think the numbers are going to go to the favor of consumer.
Yeah, and then you look at what's coming in. You said fourth quarter as we go into the first quarter of 26. Now we're coming into the midterm year, which is a whole different set of animal there to see what's going to happen. Because if they don't get a lot of this stuff done that they want to get done, within the next 7 to 10 months, I mean, this whole balance of power could shift. I'm not saying it is, but if it does shift back to gridlock, you always talk about it. Wall Street likes gridlock for some reason, don't they?
Wall Street does like gridlock, but I usually what happens when you have midterm elections, it goes back to the current administration will lose some of their seats and stuff, but this could be different if we have a strong fourth quarter and it goes into next year. And what people will change on is the economy, and if the economy is doing good. And I have a feeling it's going to be doing good when you have rate cuts and you have no tax on tips. You have a lot of positive growth oriented, and again, the money that's coming in, the businesses that are investing in the U.S. and the countries that are investing in U.S. I think it has nothing to do but go up. Yeah. I'd like you to talk for the last couple minutes or so, a minute about Charlie one more time, because that was devastating this week. What happened, and just talk what's on your heart and what I know it's on a lot of people's heart, John.
Definitely been a gut punch this week to watch a young man who stood for God, family, values that this country was founded upon. I don't know how we've strayed so far from our founding fathers, and for life, liberty, and happiness in the pursuit of each person to have equality on this planet. But that's where we are as a nation, and his life was cut short because people don't agree with really the First Amendment. That's what's under attack here. Our free speech is under attack, and people are now, instead of just disagreeing, which we used to always do, and then come together as a nation after an election or after that type of thing, now people are using violence to silence the voices that don't agree with them. And that's a sad place to be in America. And we have to pray and really believe God that we can turn this ship around, because you have a right to believe what you believe and voice it, and so do I. And we have to understand.
And not worry about it.
And that's why the First Amendment is so powerful, and that's why we need to fight for the First Amendment. And the Second Amendment is there not to take out people who voice the First Amendment, but to protect us from a tyranny of government that would come and take away our freedoms and our liberty. That's what it's for. And we're using everything, the liberties we've been given by our original founding fathers, really to make a mockery of what this country was founded on. And that's a sad day. And I pray for his wife, Erica, their children, and all those that are affected by his loss.
Yeah, and there's a lot of these rising young Republicans in Congress and everything. They were really influenced by him.
Yeah, he mentored a lot of people.
He mentored a lot of people. So and we really pray, like you said, for his family and for our country, because our country, we had 9/11 this week. Was it 24 years? Yeah, 24 years already. And so we just hope everybody just enjoys their weekend, and just enjoy your family, enjoy your friends, because life is short. And I hope you enjoyed this show today. You're listening to Saving the Investor. I'm Alfie Townsend with Pastor John Antonucci. And until next week, be blessed.